Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Silver Track Extra. If you're in the security industry and looking for ways to improve your guard management, retain more customers, win more contracts, and give your business the upper hand against your competitors, then you've come to the right place. It's our goal, passion, and purpose to provide you with amazing tools and resources to help grow and improve your security company. So be sure to visit us at silvertracksoftware.com/extra for articles based on each episode and tons of free resources. Here are your hosts, Chris Anderson and Johnny Page.
What's up, Silvertrack Nation? Johnny Page and Chris Anderson here on episode number 69 of the Silvertrack Extra, where we're going to talk about transforming your reports into time-saving contract closing machines. Machines, right? How would you like to close contracts and save time just by improving your reports? I think that sounds like a pretty sweet deal, and we're going to dive into that here on episode number 69. So, Chris, tell us, first off, there's a lot of different ways that our reports can cause us some headaches, right? I mean, we hear horror stories. In fact, we had a gentleman stop by the booth at the ASIS show that told us he had 4 management personnel, I guess you would call it, 4 office staff, 4 individuals dedicated full-time jobs just to managing their reports, collecting, sending, scanning, storing their reports. I think we almost fell over when we heard him say he had 4 guys, but obviously the reports can cause us a lot of headaches, right?
Yeah, well, you fell over because that's, he's still doing it today. And I was like, my gosh. I mean, I did the same thing. I had 4 people. And let me tell you something. I had a storage locker over there in Bellflower completely full of boxes of data activity reports that I had to save for 5 to 7 years, right? Unbelievable paperwork, right? Constant checking of spelling errors and faxing them and rewriting them. So, yeah, just... I get the shakes when I think about that. When the people come up to our booth and say that, I'm like, wow, did you just step into the future or what? It's like, how long where you been?
Yeah.
How could you do that? How painful.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we're going to talk about today is transforming those reports into something that helps really save you time and can help contribute in the sales conversation and deliver value to your customers. So the first step, we're going to talk about 3 steps or 3 recommendations that we have that would help you transform your reports. The first one is standardizing what actually gets included in the report. Chris, I think this goes back to the reports. The reason why we have so many supervisors checking on the reports before they go over to the customer is because it's like it's a wild guess as to what's the officer's going to include, what could be missing. All of the above. There's so many things that can go wrong with a handwritten report or a report that's just generated by an officer, maybe on a laptop or something like that. Really, if we can standardize what gets included, we can help make sure that this report is reliable for the customer to the point where that they know what they're going to get each time they look at the report, which is incredibly important for them in terms of saving time, right?
Yeah, I had a guard one time write on his paper report, there's ducks in the pool, right? Ducks in the pool. Well, I don't think that's probably a big thing for the manager to know that there's ducks in the pool.
Yeah.
in the pool. So it starts right from the beginning. Again, we beat this up. It all starts with making sure at the very beginning of the contract you understand what your client's needs are. What are their pet peeves? What are their concerns are? And then writing strictly about those pet peeves. All right, you got to be accountable. You got to show up. We get that, but you got to figure out what makes them tick. What is their pet peeves, and then direct that to the field teams so they can stay focused. Because other than that, if you turn them loose and you don't have that information, they're just going to write anything.
Yeah. Well, Silvertrack Nation, we're going to take a quick break and mention our amazing sponsors over at Paperless Proposal. And today I'd love to share with you about their tracking and analytics tools that are built into their proposal software. How many times have we sent out a proposal that we've taken hours to prepare, only to just wait and hear back and even wonder if our prospect has even opened the proposal? With Paperless Proposal, that's not the case. We're able to get really key insight into what our prospects are viewing, interacting with, and really engaging with in our in our proposal. So this gives you insight into what parts of your proposal are the most compelling and which parts do your customers just gloss right over, allowing you to tailor your proposals in the future to become even more effective. So visit paperlessproposal.com/Silvertrack and take advantage of a special offer just for our Silvertrack Extra listeners. Schedule a demo with their team and your business will be better for it. Well, that's it for Paperless Proposal. Let's jump right back into our featured conversation. So then the second way we can transform the report, and the recommendation we have, is prioritizing the reports based on their preferences. So when you sit down in those first couple of meetings and you establish what's important, then we need to make sure that when we're sending those reports over, that they don't have to pick through all of the code for all secure, no issues to report, all is well, all those different lines, and they can just see what really matters to them. So whether you're just doing this at the very basic level and you're gung-ho about sticking to your written reports, just pull out a highlighter and highlight the thing that matters most to them, right?
Yeah, well, if you're it's just take an apartment or an HOA or commercial, chances are you have other contracts, right? And hopefully you've had time to learn about those other contracts and what you're reporting there. So take yourself a sheet that your manager can go in and sit with your client on and say, here's some of the things that in our industry that we're experiencing, and are you experiencing these things? Have it on the paper, and they're going to tell you yes or no. Perfect. Make yourself look like you got to make yourself look like the expert. You're supposed to be anyhow, right? Here's some of the things that we were experiencing at some of the other commercial properties. Are you experiencing these things? This is how we report it. Do you like the way it gets reported? You want to make any changes in that? And then again, highlight that, because they're busy too, right? And it could be a brand new manager into the position. If you're asking them to tell you what's wrong, right? You're not going to get the right information. So,
yeah, I think that's a great point.
Yeah,
and I think the third thing that we can do in terms of, and of course we mentioned, let's just go back real fast to prioritizing the reports. There's softwares out there, hint, nudge, Silvertrack, that allows you to do that without any extra work, right? So, and we get positive feedback all the time. Like you see the DAR and you're like, oh my gosh, that would save me a tremendous amount of time, being able to filter out all the level 3 issues or the low priority ones, or even just when you're looking at them that they're just color coded so that you know right where to look. It just is a tremendous time saver for the customer.
Plus we're customizable. So you're not just creating one issue, right? And then saying, okay, that's the standard and that's what's going on. No, you're starting with a list of very basic issues to provide some very basic reporting to learn what your client likes or dislikes, or new things that are coming up, right, or that came up at the property or whatever, that you can make changes on to improve your reporting. And then over time, you're there, right?
Yeah.
And it's just maintenance. So taking that information that you got from that client and then passing it to the next new client. Think of the advantage. That's the way you have to think.
Yeah. So then this third one, in terms of transforming your reports, we also had someone stop by the booth that said on a quarterly basis, their operations guys or their account managers would sit down with all the DARs and all the incident reports and tally up how many times each thing's happened so they could do a quarterly report. Well, the third point here is really to be gathering trending information and making suggestions for improvement, getting data based on what we're reporting. Otherwise, it's really like if we're just writing out a report and sending it over, it doesn't make the information very actionable over a long period of time. It's only actionable that day, right? Like, so you're saying we wrote a report, we sent it over to the manager, they said, hey, do this different, right? So that made it actionable that day. But you're not going to get something unless someone's sitting there manually tallying up how often things are happening. You're not getting something that's actionable on like a quarterly basis or an annual basis, because all you're going to go off of is, oh, well, it feels like there's a lot more issues at 12 to 2 at this side of the property. So we'll position the officer over there. Whereas if you're reporting all this information through a system like Silvertrack, we can automatically pull this information without any extra work by the officer or by the account manager or the supervisors or the operations team, we can pull this information and it will help us improve our services. And it's a tremendous amount of value to a company that's looking to forecast what should their security costs be, what should their involvement. And a lot of times this can warrant you having a bigger budget because you're showing what, for the first time ever, a property manager is getting productivity. They're seeing how productive a security team is.
You're doing their homework for them, John. You mentioned the forecast and budgeting, right? If you can give them in forecast and budget, you can't just come at the end of the year and go, hey, we need more money for guard services, right? And they're going to go, well, I wish you would have told me that because I didn't put you in my budget. So if you're ahead of the game, like you mentioned before, and you could provide those incidents and you can show them what you've done to improve, right? Things you've done to target areas that are problematic, how you've reduced crime or reduced liability, that's huge savings to the company. And they're going to want to continue that to the next year to make sure that happens again.
Yeah.
So when you can provide those kind of reports to your manager at that contract, and she can take it to her executive teams and produce that paperwork for them. Not only does it make it look great for her, it makes it look great for you, so you can get a raise and or put more bodies on site. You can justify it based on the information that's coming in. But you can't, you got to stay ahead of the game. You have a great tool to use here to do all the things that we just mentioned right now. So you got to dig in. Very critical to the business and winning more contracts, saving contracts, getting more money for your contract, and then be able to, give the reports that the clients need that are really, truly valuable to them.
Yeah. And so you could imagine here just the amount of time that it could save if we're standardizing what's included in the reports, we're prioritizing the reports based on the preferences of the customer, and we're automatically gathering the trending information and making suggestions for improvement. You can see how this will save time and help you close contracts, because there are still companies out there going in the door trying to bid and win on written contracts or without using a tool like this, or they're charging extra for a tool like this. This is something that saves you time and it saves your customer time. I think it's a no-brainer to implement something like this to really reap these type of benefits. So a real transformation in your reports, it's really not that much work. So we invite you, come check it out. Let's do a demo. Let's set this up. We'll even get you set up on a trial to help you, to really let you see what it would look like to transform your reports into this time-saving contract closing machine. So visit us at silvertracksoftware.com, click the Get Started button in the top right-hand corner and request a demo with our team. We would love to sit down with you, talk a little bit about the properties that you're working, the contracts that you're serving, and a little bit about how your operation's working now, and then we'll dive in and really let you get hands-on with the software. All right. Also, visit silvertracksoftware.com/69 for the show notes on this episode. There's always information that we include in the articles that doesn't make it into the podcast and vice versa. So be sure to check that out, and then subscribe to our weekly roundup where we will send you the best content of the week, some free resources, and great information for the security industry on a weekly basis. Definitely don't want to miss out on that. Chris, anything else to add before we wrap up episode number 69?
No, just like we said, let's get to it, guys. Get to the future.
Awesome. Well, until next time, my name is Johnny Page.
I'm Chris Anderson.
This is the Silver Track Extra, and we'll talk to you soon.